Hello, I'm Mira Frisch. I teach cello at the University of North Carolina at Charlotte. In this video, we're just going to be finishing up talking about shifting between first, second, and third position, and thinking about where our first finger goes in these various positions. So the concept I want you to get here is going to be helpful. You're going to be able to see this concept because I've left my tapes on my cello. You may not have tapes on your cello, and that's okay. But the concept that I want you to understand in this video is that when we move to second or third position, first finger is essentially going to be replacing either second, third, or fourth finger, and that's really important to think about so that you're not guessing as to where you're shifting. So let's just do this shift as an example. I'll be on the A string, and I'm going to play B, D, but the D I'm going to go ahead and play with my first finger as well. So this is going to be a shift from first to third position. I'll do that again. And I have a tape, so it's easy for you to see that my first finger is replacing my fourth finger. And that's exactly what I want you to think about when you shift. So one of my teachers, Richard Aaron, who I've talked about before, taught me how to shift using replacement fingering. So I'm just going to talk you through the steps, and this is how I encourage my students to practice any shift where they can use a replacement fingering. So the first thing we're going to do is we're actually going to play B, D in first position to get it in our ear. Now we're going to do the shift. And I'm going to freeze and point to my fourth finger. This is going to be especially helpful if you don't have tapes. Do your shift, set one, play. The note's going to be perfectly in tune. You can't miss it if you're thinking about the replacement. I would do that 25 times in a row to make sure it's perfect. Then when you've got that, then we can just skip the point. So you're still going to set four. We can even play four. And then instead of pointing with your finger, as Richard Aaron says, point with your nose. And then you won't miss your shift. You're still thinking about your replacement fingering. The last step is, well, not quite the last step. The next step is that we'll just tap fourth finger in the air, like a helicopter, and then one replaces fourth finger. So we didn't really have any extra steps here, but we are aware that fourth finger is hovering above the fourth finger spot, and one replaces four. And then the last step is that you repeat that shift without the pause and try to make sure that you practice every shift, every step at least 25 times in a row to make sure you perfect the motion. And there you go, that's your shift. If I want to emphasize the fact that I'm going to shift on the old finger and the old bow, I'll play it one more time. And remember, that was my choice. With any shift, you can choose if you're going to shift on the old finger, the new finger, the old bow, or the new bow. In this shift, my old and new finger were the same, so I didn't have to make that choice. And whenever you're shifting from first to second position, I want you to think about how one replaces two or three, and you can practice those shifts just the same way we practiced the one replace four shift. First pointing, then looking, then tapping, then using a helicopter, and then shifting, but never guessing. You're always aware that first finger is replacing another finger. And very similarly, if you were to shift from second finger to fourth finger, you would be aware that two replaces four, and you could practice that shift in all the same ways. So hopefully you find these replacement fingerings very helpful for your shifting around in the lower positions. And best of luck practicing. Make sure you go over all your shifts with your teacher so that you know you're making the best decision for each shift in terms of musical decision and technical decision. So best of luck with your shifting.